Welcome, Cowboy Nation. It's time to talk baseball. Joining me tonight is head coach Ryan Nail, head coach of the Clarion Goldfield Dallas Cowboys. Thanks for joining me, Coach.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, we have got a bunch of things to talk about. A lot of exciting things have happened to get to this point with this program, but we've got a lot of new things to talk about as well. Let's start off when we talk about new. Of course, still a buzz, and I'm not talking about just in the school district, but all over the state, and dare I say, even in the Dakotas, the new fields.
Yeah. A project that took us a little bit longer last year. Didn't end up getting onto it until we had about 6 games left in the season. So we had 6 home games on it, and it's actually probably had double, if not more than that, games on it since our season's ended. We hosted a sub-state game between Mason City Newman and Bishop Garrigan. We had a fall league out there with 5 teams playing at least 2 games a week for I think it was 5 weeks. And then we've hosted 2 weekends of doubleheaders of one weekend was NAIA ball between Waldorf and Dakota State, and the other one was JUCO ball between Nyack and DMAC. So our field's actually right now been used more by other teams than officially ourselves. So that's one cool thing is coming back into this year. This is and the way this field's set up and some of the improvements that are still going to go on. But with it being turf, every year you go out on it, it's going to feel like it's a new field. But with only getting 6 games out on it, it really is truly going to feel like a new field again for us. And knowing going into the season that every game, every practice, everything we have is going to be out on that field is a huge advantage for us.
And it's top-notch. I've had a lot of fans that were following those particular college-level games, and people with the schools themselves were really praising the facilities, saying, what a nice addition that is, and that we've got a gold mine, a gem.
Yeah, and it's really about as simple as it's going to be right now. There's going to be some improvements coming up with hopefully one day concession stands and press box and restrooms out there permanently. So it's kind of at its bare bones right now, and we've got some other things that are going to be going up to promote our school, to promote our program. And, one of the questions that always came up when we were getting onto it was the size of the field. And, yeah, it's an extremely large field. High school-wise, it's a large field. It measures about the same as Principal Park. However, when some college teams came out here, they said, we're not sure if we could probably play on this if it was much, much smaller. So the size is about right, a little bit large for us. But, we need to adapt to that and train to the strengths of the field.
In retrospect, though, on that, we went from a field that was probably the shortest fences in the conference to where there were kids that were hitting home runs that probably shouldn't have been hitting home runs, to something that's going to at least give our outfielders a little bit better opportunity.
100%. And, there's going to be some home field advantages with us practicing on it, and one of them we found out is we get to practice really good reps every time. We don't have to worry about a bad hop. We don't have to worry about something jumping over our heads or anything like that, and then that carries over to no matter what field we are, no matter what field we're on, because even if we do get those bad hops, we're in good position. We're not expecting that. We're not being hesitant, and then even when we get those bad hops, we could be in position to still make the play. And we saw that the last couple weeks of the season was our defensive efficiency really went up since being on that field and being able to practice on that field.
Now, while you're talking about a lot of the new things, so there's been some changes to the coaching staff as some additions that I think are going to be very beneficial for this program, but also some moving around a little bit.
Absolutely. I'm very lucky to be in charge of a program that a lot of people want to be a part of, and we'll start the lower levels. Our middle school coach was Bryce Tegmeyer. He's officially moved on to law school at the University of Iowa, and he's, we'll see his face around, but he doesn't have the schedule where he could be with us full time. So Mateo Martinez is a alumni of of CGD a couple years ago, and one who I was able to coach my first season here. He's going to come back and help us at the middle school level. Jason Burning, who was my baseball coach for my junior and senior year when I went here, and also the head coach of the boys basketball team, which I'm an assistant for. So we're very close, and he's actually going to be my 9th, 10th coach this year.
And he's an umpire also, so he sees things from a different perspective that some coaches may not.
Correct, and having those games for 9th and 10th in the morning will allow him to still umpire at night, because that is definitely a love of his. Matt Odlin, who was my assistant coach last year, he's shifted to a volunteer assistant. His work life has really shifted a little bit in this last year. And he's not in a spot where he can't be with us, but he's in a spot where he can't be with us every time, all the time. So,
and a new assistant coach, Andrew DeRagi, comes into the program as well.
Yes, he comes to us from Southeast Valley. He is already in our school system as an athletic trainer, employed by Iowa Specialty Hospital. He is going to be our assistant varsity coach, head JV coach, and he's also going to be my pitching coach. And Andrew has pitched nearly his whole life. He pitched in college. He's still a pitcher at heart, and for me to be able to take some of that part off of my plate and be able to hand it to somebody else will be huge for me, for our program, and for him to grow as a coach. One thing I found out when I'm coaching pitchers and catchers during the game is I don't get to see a lot of other things that go on that need the eyes and ears out there, and so this will allow me to work with our defense a little bit more and adjust that while I know that our pitching staff is in really good hands.
Well, now that we've got the coaches all brought up to speed, or everybody brought up to speed on the coaches, we have got you lost a couple kids last year off the starting lineup there, but you have got some returners. You've actually got a pretty solid squad coming back.
Yeah, experience is the key coming back. We've had guys that 1 or 2 years ago maybe were not in position to be in the positions that they had to be in for us due to numbers and whatnot, but now they've got 1 or 2 more years experience and physically are ready for those positions. Small returning senior class this year, Nevin Foss, tremendous outfielder, tremendous athlete for us. Preston Gardner, another, in the same boat, tremendous athlete. We've kind of moved him around a little bit position-wise, mostly outfielder, but can play some infield, does pitch off the mound for us a little bit. And, there's a couple new faces, or a new face coming in, and, no matter what the grade level is right now, there's expected to be some new faces coming in. You don't necessarily want to go on record and 100% think that they're going to be here. You never really know until the first day of practice, but it's been nice in some of our off-season things to see some new faces, and I think that's a tribute to our guys that have been here, buying in and becoming friends with some of these guys and bringing them along to some of our things, and they kind of see what we're doing and how we're doing it. But also there was a time in CGD Baseball where the program wasn't as inviting, I think, as it is now, and some of those guys missed out on a few years because of that, and now, as their high school career is moving on, they're kind of looking back and, maybe wishing they would have stuck it out, but at least given us a year or two if they can, and, get back into the baseball things, which, a lot of us think that is, one of the best sports and atmospheres that you can be around. So we're really excited for that. But we've got a big junior class coming back, and a decent-sized sophomore class, and some freshmen, and maybe even some 8th graders that we'll look at for some things this year. So from 8th to 12th grade, we've got good numbers. We're 30-ish, 30-plus. So that'll set us up really good for 3 levels of baseball between the freshman level, the JV level, and the varsity level.
Yeah, and as the season goes on, we'll have conversations about some of those individual players, mention some more names, and get that all out there as well. So, like you said, where people are all going to fall into, you don't want to go out there and just say, well, this person's going to be here and this person, because
Correct.
things can change so much.
And they've got a lot going on right now, so we don't see faces sometimes as much during the spring when, they're out for track and they're out for golf and doing some of those things, and rightfully so. We really push our kids to be four-sport athletes and be involved all year long, and so there's going to be some give and take, but we've had really good turnouts with the guys that don't happen to be out for a spring sport, and we do see the guys faces that are out for a spring sport, but sometimes they're busy with their practices and their meets and things like that, and they're competing, and that's all that we ask. So you just never really truly know until, I wouldn't even necessarily say the first day, but the first week-ish of who's really going to show up. Then we run kind of into state track and state golf and things like that, and so it is up and down for the first couple of weeks until spring sports are over and we've really transitioned into our season.
Exactly, with everybody being so busy. I mean, it's not like back when I was in school. We literally picked up our gloves about a month before the season started playing catch. And that was about the extent of our workouts, and that was between practice for track and everything else. So, yeah, kids are super busy today. But, there's all kinds of things, information that people can find out if they want to know more about the program. If students want to know more about it, how they can be a part of it, it's on a website. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, it's something we've created here in this off season. It is basically a site full of links that take us to different places that are very, very important in our program. And anything that comes up that has anything to do with a website or anything like that, we can put that on there. So everybody can go to one place and get to many other places rather than sending people to many other places to hear the same information. So we created the website at cgdbaseball.org. And when you go there, you're going to be met by a bunch of rectangles, links, starting with our video from our all-program meeting that happened already this spring. So if you weren't able to make it and you're interested on some of that information, you can click on that and it goes through all of our slides. There's a link to purchase your Field of Dreams tickets that we'll be playing at and talk about here in a little bit. We just introduced and we'll be having our first CGD Youth Baseball camp here at the end of May. So there is a link that is live right now that can be used to sign up for that. We're really excited about that.
Can we touch on that just real quick?
Absolutely.
Since we're already talking about
it.
Okay, so what are the ages?
Right now, and there's some things that could change, but what's out there right now is this will be a 2-session camp, a 2-day camp. The first session will be kindergarten through 2nd grade. The second session will be 3rd grade through 6th grade. I think we'll do offense on Tuesday the 30th and defense on Wednesday the 31st. So they're 2-hour sessions each day. And then Wednesday night we play home against Hampton, and we're planning on having our youth camp night that night. So all campers are able to get into that game and be out on the field with us before the game and really get them in that atmosphere. So there's still some details being worked out on that. But again, we're really excited. Our staff's really excited to help out. It is the day after Memorial Day, so hopefully everyone's back and settled, but it's also still in May before middle school and freshman baseball gets started. So, and the fields are still available, and we just think people are still going to kind of be around as far as summer vacations and whatnot at that point. So there's a tight window in there that works for us and works for the rec department as far as their schedule is concerned. So that's why we kind of bumped it into those 2 days, and we'll test it out and we'll see how it goes. And take notes this year, and if we have to make changes for next year, we certainly will. I think we're also planning on doing something during Christmas break this winter as far as some skills and things like that. So, that's a little bit far off, but not just a once-a-year thing with the youth.
Who's going to be leading the camp?
myself and my staff will definitely be on hand, but the goal is to get our players out there involved and teaching some of the skills that they've learned and passing those on to some of those younger guys. But so it'll be our program right now. I'd love in the future to maybe get some college level guys, college level coaches in and help out and do some different things. But right now, my staff and my players are very excited to have this.
Well, I think that's a big part, because that also is going to help build excitement, because those little kids, when they come and watch a game, I mean, they look up to those high schoolers, those middle schoolers, well, figuratively and, but anyway, they have to go ahead and they grasp that dream now, just thinking how that's going to blossom in the future.
Mm-hmm. And really create those relationships and really bring some excitement for them to grow up into our program and then turn around and return the favor to the youth when they are that same age. So it's a big cycle over and over again, and you need players year in and year out. So you got to do some things that excite them and encourage all of them from our youth all the way up to our high school guys.
Well, getting back to the website, there's a few other blocks on there that we haven't covered quite yet.
Yeah, we're going to have a nice big strikeout cancer game coming up this year. There's chances for sponsorships on there. Our team calendar is always on there if you need to keep up with that. The Diamond Club, which we'll touch on later, there's a link directly to that website. We've got a great photographer, Mel Kramer, that comes out to the field and takes great pictures, and so we link all of her pictures up there for people to enjoy.
Amazing. Now, do we get her some catching gear or something to wear this year? Because she took a shot last year.
Yeah, she took a foul ball and I think had a bruise for the rest of the summer.
Yeah.
So she is tough, but, man, she takes some great photos and really captures the moment for us. And, there's a couple other things on there. Our CGD Baseball handbook on there for a reference for any families that are out there, and we'll keep adding to it throughout the year and taking things off and adding again and so forth. So it's a really good resource to have, and usually when I get asked, what's this or where's this, now I'm able to kind of just send them here. Not only do they get the information they're looking for, but there's a bunch of other information on there that maybe answer some questions a little bit later.
Now, the apparel store, I know it's closed right now, but any chance that's going to open back up?
We had some really cool apparel this year. It came in. Turned out really nice. I've handed out all the stuff that has come in here in the last few days. We have had some requests to open it back up, so I believe on April 14th, which would be a week from this Friday, it is going to open back up for a week, and I think that's then the 21st. And hopefully then that stuff comes in right about the time of the first game. So if you missed out, or if you see some of the things around town or around the school and you'd like to get that, we'll have the link out. We'll have the link on our website. We'll push it out on social media like we do. So if you're really interested, go to either one of those places and we'll get you to where you need to be.
Now, is there any rumor or any truth to the rumor that there's going to be a special edition Coach O t-shirt with his picture up front?
I haven't heard that rumor yet, and the chances are probably very, very slim because there are minimums that you have to reach when you sell things, and I'm not sure we'd reach the minimum on that.
So it has to be more than 2. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about, we haven't we kind of started to touch on it a little bit, but you guys have done a ton of off-season work.
Yeah, that's an understatement, and my goals since I've been here is give kids opportunities, and so we've got groups set up. Right now we're really heavy in the pitching and catching stage, and we've got groups set up and times and different groups doing different things, 3-4 times a week. We go in the morning on one day, we go after school on a couple of days, and then on the weekends we go to an indoor hitting facility. And so, different, like I said, different groups are going on different days. Some go in the morning. I mean, everyone's going, but they're just kind of doing different things. But we were lucky enough to really invest in Driveline this off season. Had some, great support, getting us some heavy balls, some plyo balls, some weighted balls, and just a whole bunch of other training gear. So we've really excelled with that stuff, and kids are seeing results already, and we're really excited to see the differences from last year to this year. And, kids get bigger and stronger in the off season regardless. So we've got guys that are already jumping 7-8 miles an hour, and here at the end of the program, we're really hoping they add just a few more here before our season starts. And if you're hovering around that 9 to 10 miles an hour faster on a pitch than you were last year, that's a whole new advantage for your team.
Well, it takes away a complete scouting aspect. And go, oh yeah, I remember this kid from last year. He didn't have, but people also maybe not realize how much science is behind, not just pitching and catching and everything, but there's, into the bats themselves, the gloves. There's a lot of science that goes into that.
And another subject we're going to touch on, and something that measures that, is we were able to purchase a Rapsodo data analyzer this year, and that thing, when we put it down on the ground and we have it started up and we're pitching and hitting, a guy will throw a pitch, we record it with the iPad, it instantly shows feedback, velocity, spin rate, break, spin direction, release point, just all sorts of stuff. So, and then we get all that back on the back end on the software side of things. So us as coaches can break that down a little bit, and we can watch the video and we can show them if we're focused on velocity, we can show them their fastest pitch and the video of their slowest pitch, and then we can compare the two
and fine-tune things
exactly
a lot too.
And say, you did this on this pitch and you didn't do this on this pitch, so let's focus and make sure we're doing this, and let's replicate that. And so two things that generally correlate together are spin rate and velocity, and the more spin that the ball has, the more backspin the ball has, usually the faster it's going to the plate. So are we not snapping down hard enough? Are we not sometimes it's, are we gripping it too tight, or are we letting it go too early? And so we need to find that release point. So everything is interchangeable a little bit depending on really what you're looking for. And the kids have, it's just blown them away of being able to, one, not only rewatch themselves pitching, but break it down a little bit. They've got access to every single one of their pitches that they've thrown on the app on their phone, and they can sit there and they can look at it, they can replay it. There's like 3D charts that can show you exactly where it hit the strike zone every time, and we really don't even need an umpire back there to tell us, ball or strike. It tells us that, and so it tells us our strike percentages. It tells us when we're just a little bit off. It tells us when we're not even close. So there's a lot of things to break down, and we don't use it all the time, but because we don't want to get too focused on that, but we can use it to compare ourselves over time. So it's one thing that's going to be really important for us with our younger kids, is start them on them a little bit early and start getting some numbers, and then see where they're at, in 12 months and then 12 months later, and just see where they're growing there.
Well, one you've already brought up kind of a few things that are coming up, but one thing that's kind of near and dear to me and my family is, of course, strikeout cancer.
Yeah, and we've done it. I've done it in my past jobs and past coaching jobs, and it is something that we like to bring light to. It's a hard subject to bring light to because cancer's not a fun thing to talk about and not a fun thing to experience and bring up, but it is something that we need to celebrate when those people are going through it, have gone through it, or know someone that's going through it or beat it. And that's really what we're doing, is bringing attention to both the need for the help and contributing to that, and also finding our team members, our fans, those people that have been affected by it, and know that we are thinking of them. We're trying to find ways to support them. We usually take in some donations, and that allows us to give back to different researches. In the past, we've sported the pink and the breast cancer awareness. This year, we're switching gears a little bit, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter exactly what you're supporting. It's kind of how you support it and what you're doing. And not everyone goes through the same type of cancer. And generally, we gear things towards a certain type, but at the end of the day, it's in support of everyone that's been through it. This year, the number one cancer killer in men is prostate cancer. So we're really going to focus on that, and we're going to tie that in a little bit. That'll be right around Father's Day, so it's all kind of going to be rolled in together. I believe we're going to celebrate that on June 20th. We're going to take on Central Springs that night, and it's going to be a varsity doubleheader. So that's going to allow us to do some things in between the games and whatnot when we play them that night. So I'm really excited. We get some sponsors with this and allow us to do some cool things and some cool marketing with it, and then also a chance to recognize and take in donations for certain cancer researches. So it's something we plan to do every single year. And it's just, again, it takes the focus a little bit away from the competition day in and day out of baseball, and lets us focus on some other things that night.
And that we'll be talking again as the season goes on, as we get closer to the event. We'll be talking more about that also. Well, this, having the great pleasure of going to Principal Park last year, and it's going to sound a little vain, but I really liked hearing my voice across that PA system. I volunteered to go down there, and they said anytime. And then I found out they actually paid for that, but... Yeah,
unlike us, but
yeah. Well, no, it was still, for me, it was huge. It's like, wow. First words came out of my mouth, and I was just in complete awe because, it is such an incredible thing. Well, incredible things continue on. The Field of Dreams. Is this Iowa?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. We play baseball here.
Yeah, it definitely is, and this is something that came to light. We just started kind of talking about it, ended up having someone to call out there, looked for a date. We ended up settling on a date against Fort Dodge St. Edmunds. It's actually supposed to be their home game, so I had to have that conversation with them if that's something they would want to give up one of their home games to do. And so we've got that all set up. That is on June 12th, which is a Monday. Going out there, we're pretty limited on the days and the hours that we can rent the field. So that that's why you'd like to do it at the end of the week type of thing. But that was a good opportunity for us. And like we said before, tickets are available for that. They run $10 a piece. There's options for just a ticket. There's options if you want to get a commemorative T-shirt with that. And also, if you want to take away the hassle of driving out there, we've got charter buses for both the team and fans going out there. So you can get all those tickets. And like I said before, they're all available at cgdbaseball.org. And you can do any combination of those. And we hope for it to be really busy time out there. There's been a ton of excitement, a ton of pre-sales on tickets. So we're really excited for that. And again, as a coach, we really focus on giving our kids experiences and having them enjoy being part of the team and part of our school and part of our community. And at the end of the day, wins and losses are great, and that makes things way, way better, when you're winning. But in 10, 15 years, when you're telling stories, I want you telling stories about your experiences at Principal Park and at the Field of Dreams, and the money we raised for Strikeout Cancer and things like that. And when some of the players go on to coach their own team someday, maybe they can bring some of that stuff onto their programs, and maybe one day they turn around and ask us again, and before you know it, I'm playing a former player who's now coaching another team in one of these cool things. So each year we just try to find something new, something exciting, something that allows these kids to get excited early. We usually announce these things early in the winter, so when we start our training or when we start talking about baseball, that kids are excited and you can get them roped in, and it's just harder for them to really not want to be part of your program.
I do have a suggestion for next year, just it's a personal one for me, but picture it. Wrigley Field. I'm just saying, that would be
Yeah, I think the price on that might be a little high, but
Think of the
you never
ticket
know.
sales we could do.
There are pro stadiums out there that do that. We've heard things from Busch Stadium in St. Louis and Target Field up in Minneapolis, and there are options up there. But obviously, with those, the trek gets a little bit longer and a little more expensive, and sometimes that might limit who goes and whatnot. And we just really want it to be as family friendly and family focused as we possibly can.
I'm really excited. I mean, I know having a son in the program, but having been around the program for as many years as I have and been around the game of baseball, I mean, this is an amazing sport that not only is everybody thinks about, well, you guys, the boys of summer, yeah, they play baseball in the summer. That's what we do. We play baseball, and we learn lessons from the game, lessons that'll carry on for their entire lives.
100%. It's a game of failure, and that's sometimes what pushes people away, and that's sometimes what brings people in. And I haven't had a summer. I tried to think about this the other day. I've just turned 35 years old, and I haven't probably had an open summer since I was in first grade. I've either been playing baseball or coaching baseball. My wife might not agree with it, or want to agree with it, but it's all we know. It's what we expect. Then we plan our lives around it. And, there might be some day where all of a sudden I have an open summer and I'm going to wish that I would have had more years of it. But right now, teaching lessons and being connected with these guys in the summer and doing some of these things is well worth it. I'm a teacher in the school, so it goes hand in hand a little bit. And, luckily, as a teacher, I get the summers off as far as teaching, and that makes things easier as far as coaching in the summer. If I wasn't a teacher, which, for 3 years I wasn't, and those were about the 3 hardest years of coaching in my life, is when I was trying to run my own business and coach at the same time, because when I was working, I was thinking about coaching. When I was coaching, I was thinking about working. And so that made it really difficult. So that's why I decided to get back into the school, and eventually brought me here. And right now, this is the job I want, the job I have until, hopefully I hang things up and however long.
I can't tell you I can't even remember the last summer that I had a vacation that was before baseball season was over. Because, like you said, between playing all those years and whether it was coaching and when did you do your first coaching?
My first coaching was not necessarily paid, but I was 16 years old and doing some little league stuff. And then I went on to college, and I was a player coach at UNI on the UNI baseball club. And then while in college, I was also coaching at Cedar Falls High at the freshman and sophomore level, and then just kept moving on summer after summer, and ended up going to my first job at Panorama Schools and coaching, being assistant baseball coach there, a head softball coach there, until I came back here. Just kind of came full circle.
You did softball too.
8 years I was a head coach.
Did you write the cheers, or did they?
We were not the cheering type.
Oh, okay.
If there was anyone that coached softball like a baseball coach, it was probably me. And it got to be, the reason I took that job was, I was coaching baseball. I was the assistant. The head coach that I was under is still there to this day, so I knew that program wasn't going to open up, and I was ready to take on my own program. And so I really enjoyed my time as a softball coach, but I really enjoyed my time getting back into baseball.
And there's something to be said about, once it's I put that at the same level as when I talk with people about it, being a part of baseball and broadcasting. And what I do for broadcasting now is minimal compared to what I used to do. It's not necessarily a sickness, although my wife would probably disagree, because once you get it, you just don't really want to give it up. There's always, even if you're not there, there's a little bit of you that's always trying to pull you back into it. And I'm glad that you were able to come back to Clarion and be a part of this. And that's just on a personal note from me. But one more thing I want to talk about, and this one is huge because we talk about building excitement and bringing people into the fold, the Diamond Club.
Yeah, and I have conversations weekly, and there's still people that are kind of figuring out what the Diamond Club is. It's something we created. I created, my first year back, and the really exciting thing now is, it's really evolving. We've got a board of 12 to 14 people, and it is officially en route to be a 501c3 nonprofit of its own, and I'm really proud to say that. I'm really proud to say that I am stepping back, and I am now just a coach that is going to approach the Diamond Club as any other coach can, and ask for resources, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. It is designed to be a resource in the sports of baseball and softball for our community, for our youth, our rec, our travel teams, our middle school, our high school, and anyone else. And so there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out this summer. There's going to be things you're going to see coming out here real soon, but you're going to start hearing and seeing some more faces and some recruiting. And really, it is a club that is a resource, and, whether it's equipment or field fixes or pitching mounds or anything, in between all that stuff, that is obviously a pretty high cost. You can approach the Diamond Club and ask for help with that, and the chances are they're going to be pushing to be that resource for you. So right now it's at a membership level. It's something as simple as $10 a month, or you can pay yearly, or you can pay one time, or you can pay, like I said, month by month, year by year, whatever you choose. And it can either, come out of a debit or credit card. You can write a check, or any of that stuff. But some of the resources we've talked about today, between the driveline equipment, the Rapsodo, you'll see our guys walking around with their own player bags every season. And just taking some of the burden off of parents, off of coaches and schools, as far as some of the equipment that, there's a gray area between wants and necessities, but something like a player bag. Not every player, you could look at that and say not every player has one, needs one, or whatever, but for guys to be able to not have to worry about a backpack or anything like that, it's a huge resource. And so,
well, and it also builds continuity, because everybody, it looks like a team when they all get off the bus, or whatever the case is. They're all walking out with that bag, and I mean, it'd be like walking out with a bunch of different colored football helmets to ready to play football. They'd be like,
yes, 100%.
Where are these guys from?
And they've paid for practice uniforms and pants, and just a lot of things that you see behind the scenes, or don't see behind the scenes, have been purchased with that. And that is the big push. And we really want our youth parents involved, and really want our middle school parents involved, and our high school parents involved, all the way around, and doing some different things that really brings the excitement of baseball and softball back to the community, and again, being that financial resource. So the reason we aren't getting things that are going to take us to the next level as a team isn't necessarily financially. So we can take that part out, and then our goal one day is to have an indoor hitting throwing facility of our own, and be Diamond Club sponsored with that, and being that resource that in the winter or the rainy days or anything like that, where any kid can go and throw and train and hit and do all that good stuff. So you can find that link for the Diamond Club at cgdbaseball.org. You can also go to the Diamond Club's website, which is diamondclubcgd.com. But like I said, there's going to be some big changes coming here probably in the next few weeks. Some promotional things being pushed out. They're going to be involved with some of our games and things like that this year, handing out information on that. But if you're really, really pushing for the future of baseball and softball in our community, give those sites a visit. And if you want to be part of that, even if you've got second, third graders, things like that, when you're securing us now, at the higher levels, at the high school, middle school, high school levels, with some of the equipment and resources that we have, when your kid grows up and gets to be with us, they're going to have the best advantages as far as equipment and anything like that.
The foundation has been built. It's there. We've got the facilities. Now it's time to build up from there, and this is a great way to do that. When is the first time that we'll be able to see the Cowboys on the home field real quick?
Our first game is May 15th, which is a Monday, but that week we play May 15th, 16th, 17th, and 19th. We have 30 games this year. 14 of those are at home. So there's plenty of times to see us out at our field. We're going to have a lot of cool events going on. We're bringing in some other school-sponsored clubs, activities for nights out there to get them some exposure and kind of connect everybody together. So we're really excited for that. We start practice on May 1st. And so we're really rolling in this season. But I'm looking forward to this show. Me and Dave, we've talked about what this could look like, and we want it to definitely be something that happens more often than not, and check in after every game and weekly, and just kind of really put this out for our community to know what's going on with CGD Baseball.
Sounds great. Coach, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope everybody enjoys their spring. Rumor has it it's going to start warming up finally. We'll actually have spring. Going to feel like summer actually coming up next week, they say, early in the week, and nothing says summer more than baseball. Once again, thanks a lot for joining us. And, one more thing we need to bring up. We have a big sponsor. I think we should mention them.
Absolutely. Carl Chevrolet brought up a great opportunity for us and to make this show happen, and also to be involved with some different things out at the ballpark this summer. So we're really happy to announce that Carl Chevrolet will be the sponsor of this preseason show, our weekly show, and then our post-game show, as well as what we are calling the call to the bullpen, which the call to the bullpen is going to happen obviously when either team goes and makes a pitching change. That is something that's going to be sponsored either over our live stream or over our radio broadcast of that change. So we're really excited to work with them, and really happy to bring some exposure to what they're doing at their local car dealership over in Webster City.
And what I have seen from the pitching that's coming along, if we continue moving at the pace we're moving now, no offense, Carl Chevrolet, but honestly, as far as Cowboys go, there's only going to be like 9 pitches an inning, so we may not be changing pitchers as often as. Okay, maybe not. Let's be real.
Yeah, we'll hope that's takes place with the other team more than us a little bit, but we're really happy to be working with them and for their support. So yes, you'll on our weekly show and our post game show be able to see their name just a little bit more, and again, maybe let you know what's going on with their side of things as well.
All right. Well, thanks again once again. Let's wrap things up. Have a great night. We'll talk to you again real soon.